After I made the $500 electric truck mount video, I had some questions about the water supply hose that I used, and in that video I had it connected to the wand just using tap pressure to clean with. So I wanted to go ahead and do this video and show you how I have everything set up and why I have it set up like it is. Now, just a brief history, and I mentioned this before, is that the first couple years that I cleaned, I didn't have a heater, I didn't have a pump. I basically just had the drum with the vac motors, and I used the customer's hot water to clean with. Now at that time, I had bigger jets on my wand. I think at that time I was running 110-04s. It was so long ago I can't remember for sure, but you know, it flowed a decent amount of water. They may have been 05s even. I really can't remember. But that's how I cleaned for the first couple years. But you have to remember, I was part-time. You know, if I did 2 jobs a week, that was a lot, because I worked full-time somewhere else, and spending a lot of money on a cleaning setup was not a priority at that point. Now, after a couple years, I started picking up more business, including a couple commercial accounts that I did on a regular basis. So my next step was to buy a heater, and I went with the Little Giant, but I still used tap pressure. So I had really hot water, but with the bigger jets on the wand, I don't really believe my cleaning suffered at all. It just took me a little longer. But again, I was part-time, so you know, efficiency wasn't my top priority at that time. And then a little bit later, I ended up getting a Pump Tech 1200 PSI pump, and at that point, of course, I had pressure, I had heat, and I no longer used tap pressure. At one point, I did use regular water hose for my supply hose, and I say regular water hose, it was actually some of the black rubber Craftsman, the really good durable hose. But I've seen some people were using air hose for their water supply, and once I switched, that was just the way to go. Air hose is lighter, it's much more manageable, it's cheaper to replace if it busts, so it has its advantages. Now, this air hose is the same hose that I've been using for probably about 6 years or so, and it comes from Harbor Freight. Never really had any issues with it. It's one of the few things that I will buy from Harbor Freight, and I think the quality is okay with it. Now you can see right here, this is a 100-foot section, and I do carry 100 foot of supply hose, but I prefer to buy it in the 50-foot sections and then just get a coupler and connect them. That way, if one of the hoses springs a leak or it gets creased or for some reason needs to be replaced, you can just replace the one section. But they were out of the 50-footers, so went ahead and went with the 100-foot section. And since I'm in the process of redoing everything on my electric truck mount right now anyway, this was a good time to go ahead and get this set up. So in addition to the air hose, what I'm going to need to set this up is a female quick connect, which this will be what connects to my pump. And you can see right here that the water inlet side of the pump has a male quick connect. This makes things just much easier if I need to disconnect it temporarily, or if I need to replace the hose or something like that. Because at one point I just had it directly screwed into the pump, and that wasn't any good. Next, I'm going to use a 3/4 inch by 3/8 inch garden hose adapter, and I'll cut one end of the air hose off and connect this on using a clamp. Now this clamp is a little bit bigger than what I need, but my local Lowe's is always out of the products I really need, so that one I just have to do. And of course, some Teflon tape to seal everything up. Now the reason that I really like using this particular setup is if my pump goes out on a job, I can simply disconnect the female quick connect from the pump. I can hook it directly to my wand, and then the other end of the air hose can go right into the faucet, either outside or with a faucet adapter. You can hook it inside to the kitchen sink or bathroom sink, and you can finish the job. One more thing I wanted to mention was this particular hose has the bend restrictors, which I really like. They do sell one that's a few dollars cheaper that does not have them, but I would highly recommend getting the one with the bin restrictors. And also, I know some of you don't really need to see me physically making this hose, but I'm already doing the video and I have all the parts here, so I am going to go ahead and put everything together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this off using my serrated pocket knife. Not exactly the straightest cut there. If I wasn't so lazy, I'd go out to the shed and just get some pliers, but here where the heat is about 105 right now with the heat index, I really don't feel like going out there. Okay, so I straightened up my kind of wonky cut there, and I'll put the hose clamp over it and go ahead and stick in my Gordon hose adapter. Now I'll just go ahead and tighten up this clamp. So I got my clamp tightened up, and I'm going to take this extra part of the hose clamp and I'm just going to snip that off before I put my hose into use. Next, I'll go ahead and put some Teflon tape over this end of the hose. And screw on my female quick connect. I'm not going to tighten it up right now because I don't have the pliers here, but of course I'll do that also before I put it into use. And that is pretty much it. And if you didn't see the $500 electric truck mount video, here is this same exact setup in action. So I think that's going to wrap up this video. I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions about this, put them in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.